Henry Cavill is out as Superman. We all know that. It's getting rebooted, and James Gunn has already confirmed that they're going in a younger direction, or a direction of a younger Superman, at least on the screen. Now, it's not going to be an origin story, so it's going to be interesting to see where he drops our Superman in. But the big question, who is going to play Superman? Who is going to fill the iconic shoes of Henry Cavill? That is tough. I would put that on the same level of somebody being cast for Wolverine, to be honest with you. Well, we have some ideas. We actually have some really, really good guesses as to who's actually going to take that role. And this was a list that was put together by thedirect.com. And I'm going to focus in on 4 or 5 of these picks because they're the ones that just kind of make sense to me. And you guys let me know. Who do you think is actually going to be the next Superman? I would argue it's as big of a decision as anything that the MCU has done in the past. I mean, casting Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Chris Evans as Captain America, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, those were huge. Those were pivotal for what actually became the massive MCU as we know it. This is just as important. Who plays Superman? Who plays Batman? I would even say that those two are as more important than Aquaman or Flash, or I would put Wonder Woman on the same level. Those three, that trio, they have to nail this because they are restarting from scratch and they're going to be stuck with these characters. It's going to look really weird if you have to recast them. So let's focus in on a couple that I think have a shot. The first one is Jacob Elordi. Now, you may know him, you may not. If you watch Netflix, you've seen The Kissing Booth. If you've watched Euphoria, you probably know who he is. I'm more looking at his stats. When I say his stats, he looks like a Superman. He has the chin of a Superman. He has the hair, and he is 6'5". Now, Clark Kent has to have a chiseled jaw. We know that. It has to be a formed jaw. That's just how Superman looks in everything from every comic book to every movie, every rendition. He's got that power jaw. I think personally that Jacob Elordi is probably going to be a front runner for that. Now, acting chops, I would say yeah. He's going to be playing in Deep Water. He's going to be playing Elvis in an upcoming Priscilla movie. I think he's got it. I think he could definitely be one that could be considered. The next one is David Corenswet as well. Once again, same physique and build, same hair, same jaw, and he's 6'4". He looks like Superman. He's 29 years old, which I think that's perfect. If they're going to sign on a Superman, they're probably going to sign him on thinking long-term, like 5 to 10 years, like this is going to be their guy. Well, that would put him at age 39 in a decade. That actually makes a lot of sense to me. Now, he was in 2022's Pearl, and he was in the Netflix series Hollywood. So he's got the resume. He's got the resume. Now, let's look at one that I personally think has a really, really good shot, and that is Glenn Powell. If you've seen Top Gun Maverick, you already know. If you've watched Devotion with him and Jonathan Majors, then you really know. We're just going by a visual. If I look at him, I see Superman. Personally, I do. I just think everything about him. I've watched him on the big screen. I think he could. I think he could fill this role perfect. He, to me, is my top pick for it. Now, I don't even know if he's in consideration or anything like that, but if it were me, I would highly be considering Glenn Powell. Now, Taron Egerton gets thrown in everything. He's already said he'd love to be a Wolverine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now people are throwing him in here. He's 33 years old. He's got the physicality. He's definitely got the acting chops and the energy. I just don't know about his height. Isn't he really short? I guess Superman doesn't have to be tall, but then again, you'd have to get pretty tricky and fancy how you film every movie and everything. But then again, they do that all the time. I guess that's not really that big a deal. But of course, Taron's name is in the hat. And the last one I want to mention and say, hey, he could have a shot is Eli Gorey. Now, he was in The One Night in Miami, which was a fictionalized story about Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Jim Brown. And, he played Muhammad Ali. He was physically intimidating. So he could definitely pull off a Superman role, if you ask me. One that I don't think has a shot, personally, is Ross Butler. He's on the list of the direct, and you may not know him, and you may say, well, I do know him. Well, you saw him in one scene at the end of Shazam. He was the Shazam version of Eugene. I don't know. He's 32 years old. He's got the Superman hair. He's got that jawline. I don't know. He's not very big. I feel like, I don't know. That one doesn't really fly with me. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you think should be cast as the next Superman? It is as important of a decision as James Gunn is ever going to make.